Does anybody want to sign up to speak? There's only 2 people. There you go, Robert. You want? You want 5? Here,
Let's go next year.
grab a newsletter, Robert. Please. There's a newsletter back there for everybody who hasn't got one. Question.
To the meeting? No.
Why not?
You go right ahead. Right there, Mike. So, next weekend, you and I going, you and I have to go. We hot some carpet on the way in today. Huh? Yeah. It's the best way that it was telling us to go.
Okay. That's weird.
In front of Bucky's. Bucky's stuff. We don't even stop. But the one, you know, going to the. It's fun.
Check. Sure. Oh, okay. Are quiet. It's a quiet group. Quieter than the church. Yes, it is.
Right, 2 weeks ago, and apparently still shipping. But yes, on it.
Sounds great.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I want to, it can't be more than 15 seconds to go because I've been watching it.
Notice is hereby given of the regular meeting of the Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District on April 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at the district's office located at 1605 Whitaker Drive, Friendswood, Texas. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'll put the invitations for Mr. Sykes. Thanks. You would lead us in the pledges also after this?
Yes. May we pray. Eternal God, our Father, we thank you for the abundant blessings that you continuously bestow upon us. Pray tonight that you allow this meeting to resonate, Lord, with all of the business at hand. Bless those that are present and those that had a desire to be here but couldn't. We pray that you be with us from the very beginning to the end. We pray this prayer in Jesus' holy and righteous name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Citizens' comments, about 5 minutes per person. I have signed up. Mr. Sykes, I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, thank you.
Please let everybody know your organization, your church.
Yes, sir. So, my name is Pastor Tim Sykes. I pastor Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church in Galveston, Texas. So my church is actively involved in a lot of community things that takes place in Galveston and Galveston County. So I'm retired from law enforcement with 32 years, started with Galveston PD, did a lateral transfer to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and retired with 25 years. I thought I was going to stay retired. I wound up being talked into a job in Atlanta, which I wish I never should have done. But I took a job in Atlanta as a public information spokesperson for Atlanta PD. And then from there, I journeyed, me and my wife journeyed to New York. I took a job as director of law enforcement services for a very busy park called Bryant Park in Midtown Manhattan. So I'm just coming back home. I'm the senior pastor at Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church. But I thought I was going to stay retired, but I'm so energized. I took a job as the public affairs and Title VI officer for Gulf Coast Transit District. We are a public transportation agency based in Texas City, Texas, but we provide public transportation for Galveston County as well as Brazoria County. We are a public transportation agency, and Ms. Page used to serve on our board, but we provide public transportation. I'll leave some brochures for you at a very affordable rate. Seniors, persons with disabilities, and students ride for 50 cents one way, $1 round trip within the rider zone. Outside the rider zone, it's $2 for the first 10 miles and 25 cents per mile after that. Uber and Lyft can't compete with us. We used to do a fixed route where we would drive around the city and pick up at bus stops. We don't do that anymore. You have an app now that you can download to your phone and order a ride, pick you up right there at your house and take you to your destination. That takes place in Brazoria as well as Galveston County. We are looking and talking with the city of Pearland. We also operate a program in Pearland called Pearland Rides, where we are connected with Harris County Transit as well as the city of Pearland, where we provide services for seniors and persons with disabilities. And we contract with Z-Trip as a transportation provider. So I'll leave some brochures and information for you. And if you have any questions, our contact number is on there.
Do you have any questions? Yeah, Tim, thanks for coming.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
I'll admit, I asked Tim to come say the pledge one time in the prayer. And I haven't heard from him since. And I said, I bet he's there. And he was early. And I said, I'm amazed. I have to remind people. I didn't have to remind Tim. So thank you, sir. And that's his law enforcement, his pastor stuff. He remembers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
What's the name?
It's Gulf Coast Transit District, and if you take your phone and scan that, okay, it'll pop up and allow you to download that. I'll leave some more out here in the lobby.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Tim. All righty. Don Johnson.
I'll try to be very brief today. Today there was a meeting of the Clear Creek Watershed Group. Generally try and make those meetings. There was good attendance. The meeting was going well. I thought everything was really doing good. Brought up a resolution, see if we could get agreement on it for everybody to get behind it. And that was going pretty well right up to the very end. One of the Clear Lake people said, well, not so fast. And they brought up some issues, which I had trouble understanding at first. They brought up some issues that, well, you can't really drain Clear Lake effectively. The boat channel has silted in, so that restricts the flow of water, and you need to make that part of your effort. And I'm sitting here scratching my head going, okay, you want to dredge the boat channel. Now, what does that have to do with riverine flood control? But since I came from the Clear Lake area, I mean, I know that for 20 years, that's been an issue that they've had. And so they're trying to kind of put that in with these other issues. And the gentleman that's speaking even admitted that they've been trying for 20 years to make that happen. And at one point, I apologized to Robert. I couldn't resist saying something about that. What the heck are we talking about dredging for? When, we're talking about, if we have floodgates and the gates are closed, and then the only way water is going to get out is through the pump station, then what does it matter if the boat channel is silted in? It's, that's not going to help us anyway. But it did remind me of the story many, many years ago when this whole project, the Clear Lake Army Corps project started, and they were going to channelize the creek from Dixie Farm Road all the way down to the lake. And everybody was in agreement, the lake people and the creek people, and they were, locked hands and yes, that's what we want to do. And as we went along, we finally got to the point where the Army Corps was ready to move. And that's when the lake people then kind of said again, well, wait a minute, you're gonna bring all that water down here. We got to have a second outlet. We got to be able to get the water out. And that's where the project to put the second outlet gates came about. And everybody agreed, okay, we'll do the second outlet gates first. And so we finally got that going. The Army Corps built the second outlet gates. They were working. And shortly thereafter, the lake people reevaluated their position and they said, well, it'd be a shame to destroy the natural beauty of the creek on up the waterway. And they pulled out of the project essentially. And they joined the environmentalists and the naturalists and the other people that didn't want the project to go anywhere. And it caught our story, I think, a little bit by surprise. He was the Harris County Flood Control executive director. And so that caused them to reevaluate the project. From that point on, we lost any chance of doing the channelization down here. That whole project moved up into Pearland. And now I think they're at a point where they want to start talking about how they're going to make the part of it go. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make with all of this is be careful. When you're dealing with so many people across such a broad area, the lake and the creek people and everybody else, everybody has a different thought, different views. And those views can change quickly on you. And when you think you've got it, I think it was Colonel Waterworth that was head of the Corps at the time all that was happening. I think he was kind of caught by surprise too, when all of a sudden the whole thing just kind of unraveled. So as you move forward with your plans with the Lower Bear Creek watershed study and making that, don't be surprised if all of a sudden one day your bestest allies all of a sudden become your worstest foes. So be careful with that. That's what caught me today. And having all that came back out, like I said, I just couldn't resist saying something right in the middle of the meeting, and I shouldn't have done it. I apologize.
No, that's all right.
Anyway,
It's a good thing I wasn't there. Hit him on their ass. They're gonna get out of the way. I ain't scared.
okay.
Sorry,
Thanks,
I'm
Don.
sorry. I
I'll let
apologize.
y'all get on with it.
I got a head of steam up there, Don. Sorry. All right, we're gonna move on to Lineburgers presenting. So we have a presentation by Lineburger, Joey Blair, Sampson, LLP regarding the collection of delinquent taxes.
Mr. President, board members, staff, friends and neighbors. My name is Mark Chevalier. I'm the managing partner with the Galveston County Office of Linebarger, Dog and Blair and Simpson. Tonight with me, my partner Emily Watkins. She and I head up the Galveston County Office along with 7 staff members. We represent some 40 odd taxing entities in Galveston County, and our sole focus is on the collection of delinquent property taxes. Excuse me. So the Linebarger Law Firm, I provided you a handout. This, I should tell you, this will not be on the final exam. So this is delinquent tax attorney. This is great reading late at night. The Linebarger Firm is the largest law firm in the country that specializes in the collection of government receivables. We are in 43 cities and 13 states. We have the resources that a national law firm would have that are really unequal. Balance that with the fact that we have a local office with 2 local attorneys available to meet with your constituents on an as needed basis. to pursue the collection of your delinquent receivables. We very much believe in site-based management. We know our communities, we live in our communities. So you get the best of both worlds with a national law firm with that kind of resources, and also with a local office that's in touch with this community, understands the communities. We have a rich history of outstanding success collections for our clients. We represent Galveston County, 4 school districts, virtually every city in the county, 2 junior colleges, and a slew of small utility districts and other districts like the drainage districts. We have a great history of success. To the extent that the board, I understand that the board is contemplating making some changes regarding goods collections. To the extent that you make those decisions and it could involve us, we're certainly thrilled at that opportunity. As I understand, the board is contemplating moving to its collections to Galveston County. If the board makes that decision and choose to select us as your delinquent tax attorney, the data conversion costs associated with converting your data to the Galveston County Tax Office, we extend that service to our clients. We absorb the cost of that, so that data conversion costs come at 0 cost to the district. We would like to take a long-term view of our relationships with our clients. I've been doing this for 32 years. This is really the sole focus of my practice, and I take great pride in the relationships that we build with our clients. And that's by bringing not only the outstanding collection services that you expect and then frankly that your constituents deserve, but also to bring those value-added services like pay for that conversion cost. So with that, just wanted to, I know you have a busy agenda, wanted to appear tonight, introduce ourselves, and answer any questions that you have.
Yes.
Did you guys used to be with Plaquemine?
Yes, sir.
Y'all were associated with him?
Yes, sir. Ron and I were law partners for many years.
So do y'all know an outlaw named Chris Johnson?
We do.
Yeah.
We share the office space for quite some
Keep
time.
your hand on your wallet.
He's a good player. Indeed.
Next question. So, the ability to work with Paige, our CEO and general counsel here, Daryl's office.
Right.
Community. I mean, like I said, you're working with the county, multitude of cities.
We worked against Bailey Shoes, city of Lee City. We represent the city. So we have excellent working relationships with all of those. You definitely would find that if that's the direction that the board chooses, I think you'd find it would be seamless.
Data conversion, not a problem.
Not a problem at all. We've done that many times. One of the great things about our law firm is our investment in technology. We're very much a technology-driven firm. So our programmers, our network engineers, all those people, that's all they do all the time. Sometimes it's almost like we're a bunch of lawyers that work for a tech firm rather than a tech folks that work for a law firm. With that heavily ensconced in tech, and that data conversion is something we've done from a variety of different vendors. We'll get that.
What percentage of people in Galveston County typically are delinquent on their taxes? Yes.
So it varies as you move throughout the county. From the north end of the county, the percentage of people that pay their taxes on time is really high, 96, 97%. As you move in different parts of the county where the socioeconomics are a little different, that current collection rate is lower. I did run some numbers for you to tell you, just to give you an idea. So like with the city of League City, the cumulative collection rate in 2005, 2023, we have a cumulative collection rate of 99.89%. We move that number about as close to 100% as you can get. So that would give you an idea of what collection numbers we're able to achieve in the district.
And just to be clear, for those that were studying for the test, you already have a pre-existing relationship with our tax assessor collector, Cheryl Johnson's office. So any switch over on our part could be further even by your pre-existing.
Yes, that's good.
Three questions from me. What methods do y'all use to collect the taxes?
So we have a time-proven system of collections. When we get your delinquent roll, we immediately start to scrub that roll, make sure we have updated address and contact information. We have a concerted campaign of phone calls and letters. We have 2 phone banks that are spread out in different parts of the firm. We seek to contact property owners to get them to start another dialogue with us. Let's try to resolve the situation and make some progress, put a plan in place. Usually that's in the form of a monthly payment agreement. We have a lot of property owners that pay monthly payment agreement. They always ask, can we negotiate on the amount? That's not allowed by law. Neither the taxing entity nor the law firm can wiggle on that amount once it's set. The only thing we can really bring to the situation is time. We can give them some time to pay it out over the period of months. And even that's limited by property tax code. We can't do a written pay agreement that extends beyond 36 months. If we can't get any tracking, we can't get any contact with letters and phone calls, then we resort to filing a lawsuit. Right now, Emily manages our litigation docket. She's in court every Friday. We have tax docket. Right now, we have over 2,000 pending lawsuits in Galveston County. We file 100 or so lawsuits a month. So as those delinquencies don't get any movement, we move them into the litigation phase. Most all of those judgments are paid out. However, we do sell property at sheriff's sale. That's the big hammer that we have. And we post 30 to 40 properties per month in Galveston County for sheriff's sale.
Mark, if I can call you Mark, we hate taxes. I do. I hate paying them. I hate having the state of Texas as my landlord after I pay my house off. It sucks. It's an unnecessary evil. I'm sure you could tell us many stories about that. Jesus spent some time in the temple with tax collectors, so I'm not holding that against you, but God bless you. And see, Cheryl's here too. She's also a tax collector. So.
You better watch out. She'll get you.
It's a necessary evil. We have to do it, and it's our job to do it. We're going to do it. So I just wish we could do something about property tax in Texas because I think it's killing us.
Your point is well taken. And as I sit in church, there are many times when I sit there and I think, goodness, again with the tax collector. It's like all directed at me. It's like when you go to the museum and every time you move, the
eyes are following you.
But to your point, I will say this. The way the tax code is written, we don't have to be mean to people. We don't have to be ugly with people. We have to be persistent. And our staff, we spend an awful lot of time all day, every day on the phone with people, talking to people, meeting with people. These are real people with real problems. It's a rare circumstance when somebody's just sitting on top of money waiting for a lawsuit. We hear my spouse has cancer, out of work. I mean, these are real people with real problems. That's the success that we've been able to achieve is balanced with the fact that we have to be empathetic with people's situations. And you're right. This is how we pay for local government. But I tell people all the time, hey, when you call 911, do you like it when the police car shows up? That's how we pay for it. What you do here is important to the quality of life, and we've got to pay for it. But we do balance that with the fact that we are dealing with people, and we treat people the way we would want to be treated if we're in the same circumstance. And we're able to achieve these results and still have that sort of human side.
You know what? I appreciate that. Will Rogers said, "Thank God we don't get all the government we pay for." And so I'll just leave that with you.
Hey, Emily, you can tell them when you call, you can say that little fella at the drainage district hadn't raised taxes in 2 years. You can say, hey, so maybe that'll help you out. You're nice to them, right? Okay. You can add that line in though. The city, not so much, but we're nice. We're cool.
I do have one final question. So in other board service, when it came to delinquent accounts and pursuit of fines, fees, whatever, when the firm was unsuccessful in getting the assessments or whatever, the establishment was on the hook for the money spent in the suit or in pursuit of that money. So when it comes to an unsuccessful collection, how does that get accounted?
Thank you for that question. That's an important subtlety. The way the property tax code is written, when a tax goes delinquent, property owner begins to incur penalty and interest. When that delinquent account is referred to our firm for collection, the collection fee that's paid to our firm is added on top of that. So when a property owner pays a delinquent tax, they're paying the underlying base tax, they're paying the penalty and interest that goes to the entity, and they're paying our collection fee. If a lawsuit is filed, property owner has to pay the cost of the lawsuit as well. We are a zero cost to this entity, to all our clients. You'll never see our financial, on your financials, you'll never see a payable to Linebarger. If we don't get an account paid, we don't get paid. So that's our incentive. And the incentive too is to give you the type of numbers that you expect. That's what keeps us at the desk all day, every day.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Very nice.
Thank you.
Appreciate the opportunity. Whatever the board decides, we stand ready to be a good partner with you. Look forward to whatever opportunities you would like to bring.
And just so you know, we have moved over to the county, so
Yeah.
ask Cheryl to come up next, but thank you again.
Thank you. We
Okay.
appreciate it. Pleasure meeting you.
Take care. Thank you, sir. Cheryl?
Mark, if you would come back, I just have to give some kudos to this gentleman. I wanted to thank you for giving me this moment. I wanted to thank y'all for trusting me and my office to take over your collections. We're really chomping at the bit to get started. I reached out to my software company, Mr. Chevalier's software company as well, to start the process of implementing. We're setting up an online. We're going to have a stakeholders meeting next week and have all of that going forward. So we're going to be moving quickly. But I wanted to tell you what's very special about the Linebarger firm. When Hurricane Ike came through Galveston County and destroyed $3 billion worth of property, including his office and several of mine, he didn't go after people and start pounding them for you got to pay your taxes. He immediately sent out a letter to everybody and then had a payment agreement and said, there's been a disaster. We're going to give you some time to recover, but we'll be back in a couple of months. If you can get started making your payments before then, please contact us. But he took a step back. And what I've appreciated all this personal touch, he adopted my philosophy, which is you adopt more flies with honey than you do vinegar. And we offer a lot of options between the software company that he's brought my way. I've cost him probably more money than he's made. He does training for my staff. They support our annual staff development day. They provide our main letters at the company expense. They do perform a lot of services for us that are really unheard of. And it's all because he seems to care, he genuinely cares. He sits on the P&I committee with me, so he listens along with my chief deputy property tax to taxpayer concerns to find out why they're delinquent. Is there anything that we can do to help them? So all of those things combined have turned us into what I would call a kinder, gentler, but very effective tax office. Because I know myself, when it comes to me paying a bill, I'm going to pay the company that provides good service or the government that provides good service before I pay anybody else. And our collection rate has been higher overwhelmingly than most of the other tax offices, I believe, because of that gentle touch.
Good, Mark. Yeah, that's important. I like that. That fits more with our style. So that's just like, and it doesn't affect, seems like it's not affecting your percentage very much. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All righty. Discussion and action items. Approve or deny the final plan of 21 Wilderness Trails. That's a redevelopment of 4.26 acre tract of land. The plan meets the district requirements, including dedication of easement. U.S. Army Corps of Engineer approved permit to outfall the Chicker Creek. We have received a letter of no objection from the City of Friendswood, and we have a recommendation for approval by our district engineer. Do I have a motion to discuss?
Motions.
Second.
Questions for Scott? Explain to Scott a little bit.
Sure.
Quickly.
So it's the existing site, in the home, and the existing pavement was tore down, and this home will be built, and it's a little unique for the area because of the floodplain, to reduce the amount of floodplain mitigation they need. All the structure, the garage and the home will be on pier and beam, concrete piers, and that way they have crawl space underneath there to reduce the amount of floodplain fill required to be mitigated. So it's a unique situation. It's a, Terry's excited about it, about to get going on it, building it, but I think it's a good
We
project.
did it to, so one of the big reasons is that we did it to save the trees. So if we went with, building on top of, slab on grade, the detention and everything would have wiped out all the trees. So the customer, longtime friend, wanted to do more to save the trees that were already there. So we decided to, talk, the engineer into figuring out a crawl space, which was a lot more costly, but again, it made the property look much better.
Questions? Motion approved.
Motion. Second.
All's in favor? Aye. Righty. Approve or deny the final plans for Sterling Fall, development of 4.8476 acres to a wedding venue. Recommendation for approval by our district engineer. Do I have a motion to discuss?
Motion.
All right, so we have a kind of an existing outlot here. It's a long 518, backs up to Rancho Viejo. South side of 518, and they're proposing a wedding venue. So it's something I think the city would like to have. They're gonna have a big courtyard back here. Obviously, the detention pond's provided back. West Ranch and Friendswood Junior High is Plainview left here, back a ways. Everything meets the district's requirements for on-site stormwater detention.
Questions? Motion approved.
Motion.
All those in favor? Aye. C, approve or deny 2255 Washington final plan. Proposed development of 1.728 acres of a 6.252 acre site located at 2255 Washington. The site is located in Alma DTJ. We have received a loano from Galveston County on this one. That's a new thing for me to say. That's happened before, Scott. I think you said district engineer has reviewed and concludes the plans meet the district requirements. So motion to discuss.
Motion to discuss.
Second. Talked about this one. This is the one you and I talked about the other day.
It's definitely unique. It's in not in Lake City or Friendswood, but it's in Allen's ETJ. They told me they will not review it. If it was going to be platted, they would control the plat. Discussed the project with Michael Shannon, engineer for Galveston County. We got on the same page. We were able to review it. It was unique for him as well. It's not too many times where he's in unincorporated in a drainage district and not outfallen to drainage district facility and it has to provide a low no or approval to the district. So it's one of those interesting projects. The location is and it's fun to come across. So trying to walk everybody through it was a challenge as well. It's just a facility, right? Commercial development with a proposed parking. They have a big detention pond because of the shallow outfall to offset their increase in stormwater runoff.
Questions? What's it doing, Jim? Way to have that for. Now, ETJ.
But they met all our requirements.
Yes, sir.
First thing I asked him the other day, interesting. Yeah, but I saw that. I asked him immediately. I said, I looked at that one. I said, it didn't look the same.
Yeah. Yeah, I put it on the map.
Question for him on this? Anything, Dave? No, sir.
No.
Motion to approve.
Motion.
All those in favor? Aye. All right, and Michael Shannon, that was it. That was him. Right, Scott gave us the.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay. D, approve or deny Center Point Friendswood Trail Section 3A and 4A utility. Center Point Energy proposes an install of 4-foot distribution line underneath Chicker Creek. They will install a line by boring it. The line will have a minimum cover beneath the creek of 5 feet, which meets the district's criteria. This plan was approved by the district's 12/14/2021, but the approval has since expired. The city's franchise agreement with CenterPoint Energy acts as a loano. District engineers reviewed and concludes the plans meet the district's requirements. Do I have a motion to discuss?
Motion to discuss.
Second.
So Jim, you were on the board when this got originally, I don't know if you remember, it's a while back when it originally got approved, but it's
We didn't have any issue with it.
okay. Scott, can you tell the new board any problems or anything you see with this? Evidently, you don't see a lot of problems.
I don't foresee they're not going to open cut. They're going to directionally bore jacket, right? So it's going to be the least invasive installation across our facility. Pretty straightforward. Runs with drills.
Yeah,
Actually,
gas line.
yes, sir. It's a gas line.
We recently reviewed one that was 10 feet, or was it 5?
It was
We were talking about
518 going across Chicker Creek.
Yeah, it was 10.
They might have went to 10 on that one because of a conflict with something else.
We talked about the possible need of future drainage.
Yeah.
Any digging, 5 wasn't.
Yeah, so it's 5 foot below the ultimate, and right now the Chicker Creek is at its ultimate depth. We might widen it out. Something like that.
Just want to make sure. The other one was 10.
Motion approved.
I'm sorry.
Go
It
ahead.
also has to do with the pressure in the pipe, Jason. So the other line might have had a higher pressure, and then the district required it to be deeper as well, or a concrete pad placed across it. So this one meets the criteria for not having to be 10 feet deep or the concrete pad. So my apologies.
How do I make a comment? I just wanted to verify, it's not 4 foot.
Read, state.
So I'm Camille Tipton. I'm the engineering designer for this project with Centerpoint. Sorry about that. I just wanted to change, it's not a 4 foot distribution line.
Okay.
So that's a big difference.
Yeah, I didn't have,
There.
it has only, yeah, it doesn't have inch. It has, okay. I'm about to say, this seems
That's
big,
a lot.
for gas, that seems big, but it says 4 foot on my sheet.
Yeah, it does. It does say 4 inch on the design,
Okay.
The bottom of the drawing, it says proposed 4 inch.
4 inch on the design, yes.
Okay.
And 5 feet.
No problem. Yeah, y'all set me up. God.
Thank you.
I'll read, I literally read.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. What the A&M is that?
At least we're not.
Those tech people might have read it wrong to the font, but you never know.
You never know.
They play better basketball than we do.
Well, they blew it.
All right, any more questions? Thank you for that clarification.
Move to approve.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All righty. E, approve or deny McCreeken Manor final plan. Development further platting a 3.917 acre tract of land into a 1 lot, 1 reserve, and 1 block. District engineer has reviewed and concludes this plat meets the district requirements for the final plat process. We have received a loan from the city of Westwood. Motion discussed.
Motion.
Scott, will you explain? This is where this is at and what's going on here.
Sure. We've got a 2351. This is where the slot fronts, and it's just southwest of 518. And what is it, Montebello that it backs up to? Is that right?
Yeah.
That subdivision. We recently approved a replat for this tract. This gentleman added it to his existing lot in that subdivision, and he decided to turn this into a residential lot instead of commercial.
You know, the governor just put him on the board of regents for tech for fun.
Yeah.
You know that?
So is this prior to friends approving this changes post?
I think it was already single family. I think it would have had to been changed to commercial. I don't think the zoning, to my knowledge.
Any questions, Jim?
No.
Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right. Consent agenda, the approval of the 08-2025 bills and the approval of the March 11th, 2025 meeting minutes. Does anybody have anything they'd like to take out of the consent agenda or talk about? As I hear none, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nice. Resolutions. A, resolution 2025-10 is a resolution approving submission of a Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District Master Plan Phase 2 grant applications for flood mitigation assistance program and hazard mitigation program with a local match of $250,000 should it be approved. Do I have a motion to discuss?
Motion.
Second.
Samantha, do you want to talk about this at all?
Sure. So we are submitting 2 applications for the master drainage plan. This is for Clear Creek and a few items that are for the entire jurisdiction. The total estimated cost is $1,000. The local match would either be 10% or 25%. That would be determined when they're reviewing the project. Probably most likely to be $250,000. Just FYI though, there's a lot of changes going on with FEMA right now at the federal level. Recently the BRIC program was canceled, and back when they released the federal information about the flood mitigation assistance grant and the BRIC grant program, they ended up pulling those the same day. So I would not be surprised if this flood mitigation assistance program disappears and is canceled. The other one that we're putting it in for is the hazard mitigation program for disaster recovery with Beryl. I think that there's a chance it could sneak through that.
Is this the one for Clear Creek?
This is Clear Creek. It also includes a few items that are jurisdiction-wide. It would include an assessment of repetitive loss and severe repetitive loss structures for the entire jurisdiction. So primarily that's going to be on Clear Creek. It would also include an acquisition plan for our entire jurisdiction. And I think those are the 2 primary items that were additional. But yeah, it would look at up to 12 alternatives on Clear Creek that and examine the benefit cost ratio. So it would do a benefit cost assessment for those. It would look at our current easements along Clear Creek and the tributaries and identify. Right now, we don't know in our design criteria manual, we don't know what our easements are based on. So this would look at the current floodplain, the Atlas 14 floodplain, as well as so it would also look at, I'm going to back up. So when we're looking at alternatives, one of the things that is written into the scope is to assess the current design storm, because historically all of the storms in our area that have flooded us pretty badly are 3-day storms. They're not 1-day storms. So we would want to look at a fully built out condition and reassess what we really want our design storm to be when we're looking at these alternatives. So that would be part of this study. But then we would assess 12 different alternatives for that fully built out condition with those design storms.
And how much of this study would be duplicated by the city of Friendswood study?
So the city of Friendswood study is primarily looking at street drainage. I'm not sure at the end of the day if they're going to look at an alternative or 2, but you know, when this study is going forward, they're going to meet with the community, they're going to meet with us, they're going to meet at other stakeholders. So at the end of the day, the alternatives that are identified are not going to be the same alternatives that are identified in the Friendswood study. This study, part of why we're going ahead and looking for grant funding is because the Friendswood study is going on right now. We wanted to take advantage of that model. It's going to have really great data. We also want to take advantage of the Texas A&M IDRT sedimentation study so that we can incorporate all that bathymetric data and side scan sonar, you know, if needed into the model. I don't know what model Friendswood will end up selecting, but at the end of the day, everything that we do is going to be focused on a bigger picture of flooding.
Jim, so I mean, what we were trying to, what the staff and Scott and I have talked about, and we talked about this, I think, at our last board meeting, was the timing of Dickinson first. The IDRT studies, the timing of Friendswood's master drainage plan will give us, if it hits right, a big leg up on information and where we can pick up with our master drainage plan when we move on to Clear Creek. We might have a lot less to cover with all that information than we might have. It might have saved the taxpayers considerable money because of all that information that we get from IDRT and from the city that we can use when we move this way.
Yeah,
So,
that's like to follow on to that, like the scope that we have now includes funding for survey, but we may not need to collect that much survey data after having the Texas A&M IDRT study and Friendswood. So that may reduce the total.
Our intent is not to duplicate Friendswood study at all,
Correct.
but supplement it where needed.
well, and I don't know if supplement's the right word because Hill and I have had a lot of discussions on this with Samantha, and our goals and really what we're trying to achieve from where we look and where they're looking really don't really match. But there will be some overlap that, yes, by the timing of this, if it works out, y'all know how timing is in life. If it works out like we think, then we won't have to duplicate things that we might, if we moved right now, we could very well be duplicated. And that's the plan. And really with our budget and the money involved and the grant programs, the way it's structured, it's a very judicious way to move forward. And I don't think anything would happen faster anyway, to be honest with you. I think this is a very effective way to spend y'all's money.
So the primary overlap would be the upstream data they've talked about collecting, the updated impervious cover stuff. That's the primary overlaps with Friendswood study and ours.
So
Because Hill had talked also about
collecting
the
data.
amount of water inbound. They were speaking. And an update on impervious cover.
I mean, I know that, so I wish Hill was here to talk on it because I'm not the engineer overseeing that at this point. I mean, they haven't met with us as a stakeholder yet, so I really haven't been, I think they just kicked that study off. They're collecting data. I don't think they're further along, but their intent is to look at street level drainage. So they're going to be looking at streets that flood frequently or that have had, excessive damage. They're not going to be looking at riverine flooding or the influence of coastal flooding coming up the creek. So I think that the alternatives that we determined would not be in the same locations that they're going to be looking at necessarily. They may decide to look at a larger alternative or two, but that's my understanding is that. And Robert, if you want to speak on that.
He'll speak later. Let's get to the vote on it. But just to tell the people, the fact of the matter is if we need more information, we get there and we have to spend money to get it, we will. But we won't if we don't have to. So we're gonna find out what we have to find out, anyway in the proper order, get the information, let the city of Friendswood move on down the line, let IDRT move on down the line. And then we'll fill in the blanks. We have to fill in the blanks. There's no reason to spend a bunch of money and then find out that we duplicated a bunch of work. I don't want to do that. I don't do that. Small business. I don't want to do that here either.
The goal would be that this would help us put together a capital improvement plan. And for each of the projects that we look at, we would have a benefit to cost ratio so that we were set up to chase additional funding for those outside funding for those projects if we decided to.
Correct. So anyway, that's thank you, Samantha. Any more questions? We can talk about that all night. Trust me.
Right.
Motion to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Good work. B, resolution 2025-11, resolution related to supporting the Lower Clear Creek and Dixon Bayou feasibility study. We have a motion to discuss.
So this Commissioner Hank Dewey put this together, but he's been going around to all the different entities. As you know, we have been working with League City and Galveston County and we've met with the Corps. We've talked with Reason Nichols, who worked on the previous planning study, and there is great intent to push this study forward. It was the feasibility study was approved and awarded 2022. And we believe that if we start pushing this forward and funding it at the local level, that the federal funding will come. The goal is to try to, the goal is to get the study done as quickly as possible. So we're planning to use the Section 203 process. And then as a side to this, passing resolutions like this shows our support. And we have been working with Weber to put an appropriation towards this project in at the federal level, and he's planning on putting appropriations in. So this would look great to add to the additional, the letters of support and other resolutions, showing that we are committed to this.
So Randy's chief of staff got back to me, I think, 2 days ago in receipt of the letter that we put together, Samantha. So like I said, it's a letter of support. It shows what we're wanting to do and how we're moving it through the board. Now, how fast that moves and their technical oversight is another thing, but at least we're properly aligned with the federal program and with League City on this, and with Freeze and Nichols and Chuck.
Well, if we get federal funding for the feasibility study, that would be great, because I think initially when we were discussing, we were thinking that we would have to fully fund the feasibility study ourselves and then really push for funding for engineering design. But so it looks like there's a possibility to get funding, or I guess 2026 and maybe in 2027.
I think 27.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions? Motion to approve? Motion. Second. All those in favor? Aye. All right. Discussion report from staff members. Paige, you want to talk about, we had a meeting in Austin, we had our first quarterly newsletter, the grant updates, upcoming meetings with the property owners and elevation projects, the audit update, the field superintendent monthly report. So go.
Sure. Okay, so items A and B, I'll take on. And they're sort of related. So actually, I'm going to do item B first because I'm so excited about it. It was, y'all can see it sitting out there on the table, but this is an early release issue that will be hitting mailboxes later this week. It's a goal of ours to be transparent and open with what we're doing for the community. And so it's going to be sharing bits and pieces of the studies that we're doing, the funding that we're pursuing for grant funds, the purchases that we're making, flood preparedness tips, items of interest, the hazard mitigation plan update. So all sorts of good information that will be coming quarterly to mailboxes near you. And so we're really excited to share what we're doing with the community and for the community. And the more feedback we can get and the more involvement we can get, the better we can serve the people. And then as part of that, and building relationships with statewide and in Washington and beyond, Rusty, our wonderful president, has taken us to Austin, Samantha and I on last week on Wednesday for a meeting with Mays Middleton's office, as well as Jeff Berry, who set up a meeting with TDM. And so we got some really great FaceTime with our representatives to talk about what we're doing, how we can work together, the projects we can do in the future, and just we're really excited about it. Samantha, do you have more to add to that one?
I just want to thank Rusty for his commitment. I think that I think it was a great beginning to long relationships down there, and we really appreciate you taking the time to go down there with us for the entire day and walk around Austin. And
We have fun.
yeah, it was great.
It was good. We had a real productive day.
We did.
Yeah, Mays Middleton's office even set us up with a private tour of the Capitol in between meetings, and so it was really special. I had been there since 5th grade.
It was
so
quick. It wasn't about 38 minutes. It wasn't
We
very.
got to
We got to go up to the front of the house and get photos on the dais. So I'm really excited.
Jeff's supposed to send those to me.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this. I will bring mine behind.
I mentioned it in my handwritten thank you note, so hopefully he gets it to us fast.
But we stopped by. We had dinner with Jeff Berry, who is our rep he took Ed Thompson's seat north in Maryland, which is my old stomping ground. So we have good relations with Turnout Percent City Manager, the Mayor Cole, and of course, Jeff Berry, I've been friends with for 3 or 4 decades. He's going to be, I think, a real good rep up there. He took a lot of time with Paige and I at dinner, and then we met with him the second day. He set met up with Sarah, who is high up. Blair, excuse me. At TDM, and we had a really good meeting, and she gave us some really good advice on, I guess, how we should style and how we should go about seeking money from TDM on things that we have here. One of the things, Rob, we work with the city on and Hill is a lot of our intersections and our departures before storms and how soon we have to get out anywhere really from Bay Cliff and way over there, all the way through Friends, but how fast you have to get out of here until you can't get out. So that's how we get money from Tita. She explained it all to us, and it's like meeting with her. Until you sit down and get the explanation of the technical aspects of getting the money, you really don't know what you're doing because you're not checking the right boxes or you're not speaking their language. So we want to speak their language, even though that seems crazy, but if you don't speak their language, you don't get the money.
Like
So-
adding on to that just a little, we talked about emergency management as well. So we'll be updating our emergency management plan here this summer, and we're going to be looking at, what that looks like immediately, but also longer term, 5 years out, 10 years out. And we think that there is a place, or we think that we can build towards having a gauge system through, not just in our area, but spreading out through Galveston, so we can help provide flood alerts to people since we can't get out of here.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that Tatum can help us.
I think that's a good comment.
And we told, I'm gonna tell you, we told Mays this, and we told Jeff this. What's crazy is Galveston County, our drainage districts here, and y'all think about this, people that are here. Our budget for our drainage district is less than the budget of drainage district for Missouri County put together in Galveston County. That should send I mean, I think Mays' eyebrows were like that. Jeff was even surprised about that, but let that sink in. Galveston County in the United States, our budget's less. We have less of a tax base, but still, that's why I told Sarah and I mean, Blair, sorry. I got Sarah stuck in my mind. I told Blair and I asked Jeff, and I went with my other congressman around there and said, that seems crazy. It seems like we need more money for drainage in Galveston County. However we get it, we can't get it in the district without raising taxes, which I don't like doing, or without a lot of extra roofs, which we are getting those in the League City portion. Still though, this county, I mean, I'm a big proponent of the county and the cities in this county. We need to speak up for ourselves because we have a lot of issues here. Old infrastructure in a lot of these cities and old emergency ways and low roads to get out. So I think it's something that you need to speak with your state reps. Remember, the federal government's in flux right now, as y'all are probably aware, but the state is pretty stable. There's a lot of people in those hallways looking for money. We were navigating it like Pac-Man or like Frogger. It was amazing. And they said it was a light day. I was like, okay, whatever. It looked so light to me, but.
Well, we ran into our neighbor from the Gulf Coast.
Yeah, we ran into, we were
Yeah.
people from Gulf Coast. We were running all kinds of people. Everybody's looking for money. So we were just one of 1,000 knocking on doors.
Well, along those lines, and keeping up with our schedule,
Yes.
since we got grant applications going out basically every month. So we had some going out in February. March is the master drainage plan. Samantha's is working on some fish project applications for April, and then some land acquisition grants for May, because we've got a couple properties that we're getting our eyes on and feeling out for best use. And then there's an upcoming meeting with property owners regarding elevation projects, because we've gotten over 5 families that are interested in elevation projects and coordinating that through grant funding as well. And so what day in April is that?
It's April 22nd at 3 p.m. here.
Yeah, April 22nd, 3 p.m. here. So everybody online hears that. We'll also put on the blog. So if you're interested or know anyone who's interested in our jurisdiction for elevation projects, for elevating structures, please come and we can share information at that date.
And I would say that while we may be leading that effort, that is definitely a partnership with the municipalities around
Absolutely.
us, because their building code inspectors will have to work with them and their planning and permitting departments to make that happen.
We're basically starting a whole entire program from the ground up. So previous to our employment here at GCCDD, this isn't something that I think GCCDD was involved in, so there wasn't a process and a plan for it, but because this is something that we can offer the community as a connection to the grant funding for these sorts of projects, this is something that's really important to both Samantha and I to do. So we're starting and sharing information on that. And then audit update, Ms. Kathy Grace?
Yes, the final audit will be first on schedule next meeting. Our primary auditor retired, so somebody else with the company has to pick up.
Daniel retired?
Yes. Would like to know this.
When will we have the audit,
Preliminary?
the report given to us in front of the board?
Next month. Yes,
May.
by one of his.
It won't be Daniel.
It won't be Daniel.
No, but it's it's somebody get an auditor that's worked with him and
Okay.
worked with us before.
I believe he had some family emergencies that popped up and he had to, for his
Okay.
personal reasons, back out. But we weren't expecting that, before he finalized the reports. There was a little bit of a handoff there. So that a report got delayed by a month, so his colleague could pick it up and do the review and then give us their opinion. And so that is coming in next month in May. And then field superintendent report, Randy Rowland has provided a PowerPoint for y'all. So
Yeah, I thought I would give you pictures of what we do rather than just listing out everything we do. So what I did is I shot pictures. This is our contractor, ProScape, that's doing some mowing for us. This is the Carroll Creek in between Old City Park and Stevenson Park. I just wanted everybody to see, how nice it looks. If you go to the next one, they're mowing all the way to the edge of the creek. This isn't the only place that it looks like this. Everywhere that they're mowing looks like this, and
like a golf.
I really like how it looks. So I just wanted everybody to see what our contractors are doing and understand they are just a very good job. So I'm really impressed with ProScape,
I
right?
got plenty of days all the way back to the bridge.
That's amazing.
So that's
Not what Clear Creek looks like in Pearland
yeah.
on Brazoria County or
We're doing-
Harris County
We're
side.
doing our best, and it looks like that all the way from the bridge all the way to the Sunset Bridge. So it definitely is a long stretch like that.
Well, while we're waiting for our projects to get studied, like Clearview and stuff, we'll talk about, I'm sure, and Black Hawk and stuff.
I
Like I
drive by
said,
every day.
we need to keep these creeks mowed like a golf course. So there's plenty of conveyance.
And that definitely looked like a golf course, so it definitely did. This is something that we were actually looking over in this is the forest of Friendswood. Me and another gentleman, one of our workers, went back looking at the detention ponds, and we had a resident walking by with a dog that said, "Hey, there's a tree that's across the creek in the back." So we thought we'd just walk back there and see. She didn't make a big deal about how big it was. It just sounded like it was a little tree. Well, we got back there and it was this tree. This tree is
Wow.
huge. So these are our guys, and you can go to the next one. These are our guys pulling that tree out of the creek. You can go to the next one. This is the size of the tree. The next picture will kind of give you an idea of how big that tree was. That's our skid steer, and the stump is as big as the skid steer.
Mhm.
So the jaws opening that thing we could barely open big enough to get that thing out of there. Excellent. And then this is obviously the first piece. This is a removal of it.
Yeah, I like that. Like
Where it's gone.
that's good work there. I like it. That's good stuff.
Yeah. This is a bank repair that we're doing on Clear Creek, right at Friendswood Link Bridge. We call it Marie's Bank because the homeowner's name is Marie, so we just named it after her. But this here is a key ditch that we'll dig when we're repairing it. We fill all that. The riprap is the concrete there. We'll fill that up. It's probably about 4 to 5 feet deep. We'll fill that up and go to the next one. And the excavator will just crush down. We'll fill that up, go to the next one. And he'll just drive across it and then dig another, 20-foot hole. And then we'll keep doing that across until we fill the whole thing up. Next one. And then there it's filled, and then we'll bring in new dirt. We're getting rid of all that dirt there. This is actually going on right now, so there's not a finished picture of it yet, but we've already brought in new clay and built it up 5 feet to where the excavator is sitting, and then we'll re-slope the slope there. But that's how the banks are fixed with riprap in there. So obviously when a storm comes and eats on that bank, it's not going to take the rock out. The rock will support that bank. This is a pilot channel. We've been doing a lot of pilot channel cleaning here since it's been so wet. We couldn't get into a lot of places that we were working. This is a pilot channel behind Vera Paredes. If you go to the next picture, just shows everything that was in the channel, and then the next one is cleaning it out. And that's after it's cleaned out, that's what obviously the channel should look like. We've gone through and cleaned out all of our pilot channels in our district so far. So that's that's everything we do. And I thought it'd be nice that you guys would actually get to see what some of these things look like. The first one with the proscape mowing, I wish I would have taken a picture of it beforehand because the grass was 2 feet high and weeds and everything. So it definitely looks like a golf course compared to the way that it did.
Like that, like you said, I like the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you, Ron. Cruz, very good.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. District engineers report.
Yes, sir. So we're chugging along with some reviews. Legacy has resubmitted a bunch of plats that we've approved in the past that have timed out. So we're in the process of reviewing those and getting those back in shape. Dude Stop, is everybody familiar with that? The ongoing, that's the gas station down on 5. They've run into a bit of an issue with their storm drain tie-in to TxDOT. There's an AT&T bank that is right in the way. Unfortunately, they waited the last minute to try to make that connection. So we're working through requests to install a siphon. We've kind of gone back and forth. They just resubmitted yesterday or Friday for addressing some concerns I had, and we'll go from there.
So that's the problem with that one. Everybody's been asking. I mean, like, it's a Friendswood moms and dads topic of conversation is what is happening with Dude Stop. So,
Yeah, their pump. Yeah.
But the drainage.
Yep, that's the drainage company.
Alright.
Which, Ryan would probably tell you if he was digging a pond, he'd probably put the connection in to drain the pond first, but that didn't happen in this situation, unfortunately. So, Clearview, update on that. FMS is working on the survey. We've had the drone fly. Overall, it's about 80 acres that we're surveying for Liz and her crew. They wanted some additional information to kind of mesh with the LiDAR they have. And then we're also working on the site-specific topo. That way we could calibrate the drone, make sure it's measuring everything accurately. The geotech has been engaged. They're out there. They've marked their boring locations. They should be boring after the one call is finished. The time for them to mark all the utilities is up. And then we met with Liz's team yesterday. I did, and they're working on confirming that they have the current model from Harris County for Clear Creek, and we'll have another meeting next week to kind of bring that back up. So that's where we're at right now. We're moving along.
So we have, to let the public know, we have 3 interlocals that went through the consent agenda of the city last night. One's on Clearview, Deepwood, and Frenchman's Creek. And what the board decided in the last meeting is we're going to move on with the Clearview, which Scott, our engineer, and Samantha agree is the best avenue to move on. We're going to get moving on Clearview, and we're going to put the other ones, when we get the information in the capital improvement project, we're going to let the other ones fall where they lay as far as importance and viability in the CIP program. So we're moving out there. Matter of fact, we drove out there on Monday, and they're moving along. They need that little slot cut for them. Otherwise, we have to give an Indiana Jones hat and machete and let him come through.
Yeah, our chief was in contact with Green today. I think they're coordinating to have the hydrax out there.
See, if you're my side, you can just get a little path.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier, you know what I'm saying?
You're a little bit taller than me, so.
Yeah, but you got to cut a bigger path. So anyway, but we need to cut that for them so they can get going. So anyway, well, thank you, Scott. Yes, sir. Please, sir. Mr. Griffon.
Yeah, good to see you guys tonight here. Well, a little bit hoarse from a lot of talking today, but as you just mentioned, last night we did have our meeting and we approved the interlocal agreement, clear Deepwood and out. And so that can move forward however y'all want to move forward on that, I guess. So that'll be good. And today we did have the Clear Creek Watershed Steering Committee meeting, and we had a couple of presenters. Melissa Washington was there from the GLO, and I believe they have been allotted about $555 million in funding. It will not be done in grant funding or CDBG, that kind of funding. It will be done by appointment and competition. So they're really reaching out to local districts like this and other places that they want you all to go on their website, do the surveys, give them as much information as you can about the things that y'all are trying to do. And there is an LMI requirement to it. So you'll have to have that requirement met for that kind of funding. And we also had Justin Bauer with the HGAC there. And he was reaching out and just letting people know all the things that HGAC does in the community. And their flood resiliency program is what he was really interested in trying to talk to us about. They have some 13 county areas, including the counties of Clear Creek watershed. There's no regulations that exist for them not to be able to coordinate and supplement local effort. So they're really there, and they have the staff there to help those districts and those kind of bodies that don't have the staff to pull data together. They're willing to help you. They do have the staff available. And their work areas are transportation, workforce aging and services, natural resource planning, economic development, and of course, what we really wanted to talk about was resiliency planning. And so with direct planning support from HGAC, they will help with FEMA hazard mitigation planning, which helps communities apply for grant funding. So I know Samantha's working really hard with that. Facilities, process development plans, they'll help with that. They'll guide through the approval process. Several plans currently in process, and they're seeking additional opportunities for cities and counties and districts. So if you want to reach out to HGAC, they do have the staff and the people ready to help, even though they're not really the money grantors. They don't have a lot of funding, but they do have the staff to help you. And related efforts, they do regional data development. And I know that we're really here at the drainage district focusing more now on regional impacts, watershed protection planning and conservation. He did go into the coordination efforts, which is the Water Resources Committee, that board committee on flood, drought, and supply quality, provide education, serve as a roundtable, maintains priority projects and lists for you. Regional Flood Management Committee for regional floodplain manager officials, advise HGAC board, serve on roundtables, work and shared needs, and you do get continuing education credits for it. So they were really going into that quite a bit. I think Samantha mentioned Hank Duty was there today, and he did have a resolution. The board, the committee did approve the resolution with one objection. And I actually did have to make a couple phone calls, mainly to Hank Duty, to figure out what the objection was about. But I think Samantha helped a lot with what you all are doing with your master drainage plan and some of the sediment and silting concerns that some of the people on the lake might have. So she did a really good job of helping with that. So we were able to delineate some of the concerns that he was having with the resolution, and we were able to pass that. And also Samantha had reached out to me for a letter of support for Randy Weber, and I was happy to do that. And so I did send as chair of the Clear Creek Watershed Steering Committee a letter to Randy Weber for the Clear Creek and Dixon Bio feasibility study. And if you would like for me to do that as city council member and liaison to the Galveston County Consolidated Drainage District, if it helps, I'd like to do that too. Other than that, we did get some reports on the Friendswood Regional Stormwater Detention Basin. The status right now is about 50% design submittal in process. An expanded basin footprint maximizes the preliminary excavation area while avoiding the jurisdictional wetlands. The wetlands delineation report was sent to you, the Corps, on 12/30/2024, which was just right here at the very end of the year, to identify if the wetlands are jurisdictional or not. Of course, if they're not, then we're going to be able to expand that regional detention basin, which would really be awesome. 68% of the extended rough grading site cleared and grubbed, and anticipation completion of rough grading around May of this year. So that was good report. The Clear Creek Federal Project, I know that you all have seen this. It stretches from 2025 and even actually before that, all the way to 2032, and all that's really hasn't changed. It's the same time frames and everything, but they are anticipating final approval of the PACR routed by the U.S. Corps for approval. Should be by 2025. Looks like Q2. So we're moving along on that. The Whitcomb Terracing and Stormwater Detention Basin. This is a partnership between the city of Friendswood and Harris County Flood Control District. It's about $27 million project. $17 million of that will be from Friendswood, and $10 million of that will be from Harris County Flood Control, Texas Water Development Board. Approximately 3,300 linear feet of channel terracing along the northern bank of Clear Creek near FM 528 is planned. During the preliminary engineering stage, an inline stormwater detention basin may also be considered. So that's kind of where we're at on the Whitcomb terracing. And other than that, that's my report from the city.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are you aware, or were you aware that the city manager and the city engineer were caucusing with Tanos's attorney and went to court and testified against us?
I was not aware of any of that. No. I did find out after the fact that they did go testify in regards to what I understand is the city requirements for a developer. I'm not whether it was for or against anyone, but that they were testifying on behalf of the city in regards to what the requirements are for a developer to develop in the city of Friendswood.
Okay. That's all I have.
You didn't know about it, Robert, but what they did, they weren't looking at, they actually prepared. It was asked, it's an on-court record. They actually prepared for that trial for cross-examination. And Paige, you correct me if I'm wrong, with the Tanos legal counsel days before the hearing. So they were actually in preparation. The city manager and the city engineer Hill were in preparation and meeting with opposing counsel against us in advance of their cross-examination by Eric Lipper, our attorney. You didn't know about it. From what I understand, you and council member Aaron Worth, that's all I know for sure, didn't know about this till after the fact. I want to know who knew about it, who directed the city manager, which works for y'all, to that it was okay. It'd be like me not letting the board know and Paige getting loose to go testify against the city in reverse, but somebody directed her, but it wasn't the whole board. It was somebody on the board. There's no way Mr. Cabrera got away with testifying against the district on behalf of a developer working for the city without somebody directing him to do so. You didn't direct him. I understand that, but somebody did direct him.
Well, I also understand that there is a lawsuit in regards to this, and that's just something I don't feel comfortable speaking to. I really don't.
Yeah, y'all are part of the lawsuit. We are. It's us and Tanos. I'm just want to know
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I want to know who the city directed the city manager to do that. That's all I want to know.
The Texas Rangers public corruption are really interested in that. Number one. The last thing I want to tell you is that I want to give you the condolences.
Absolutely.
On the death. He made a big difference on my kids' lives and lots of other kids' lives.
Well, I really appreciate
I want to tell you, God bless you and your family, and our prayers are with you and your family.
I'm sorry I couldn't be here at the last meeting.
I don't
understand.
No apologies necessary.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Matt.
Like, oh, I can't just talk from back in my chair.
Just an update on development in League City, in conjunction with the district. Westland Ranch, the current effort right now is Westland Ranch Section 5. Last update I got from my inspection group was that all utilities are installed at this point. The next contract is moving in to start cutting grade on streets and progressing towards the paving process. But Westland Ranch is kind of, in comparison to some of my other developers, they're moving, they kind of pump the brakes. They're moving kind of slower than some of my other developments. So that's the only section they're working on right now. Circling back to the legacy development, they are moving very aggressively. I would tell you they have more than 10 projects going forward right now. Of course, they've got the roadway constructions as far as West Boulevard and Legacy Drive. They've got Legacy 8 residential sections in some form of construction right now. And, you know, along with drainage efforts, detention efforts, utility efforts. So that developer and development is moving forward aggressively. I tell you, in the next week or two, I'll probably be accepting the first couple sections along with some roadways of that development. So moving forward, otherwise, I think those are the typical developments I kind of apprised you guys on. Unless you got any questions or concerns for me, I think that's all I've got.
I knew one of your roads was open.
What's that?
My son's car was really dirty. I said, son, what's all your trouble? When they opened that new road in League City, I go, and? Because I guess it's really dirty.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be connecting to Friendswood. We do not.
I tell you, it's an ongoing battle with these contractors. And I tell you, we've got, you know, League City has heightened criteria when it comes to SW3P and sedimentation and that kind of stuff, because it, you know, it somewhat ties to our CRS rating. But we're always battling that with the contractors. So if you are aware of any bad situations, don't be shy about letting me know, and I'll get that handled.
Matt, where do we stand with the famous box?
Oh.
Where do we stand with that, with the electrical box, the junction?
We're in month 2 of what was told a minimum of 6-month process to get it redesigned because of everything that runs to it.
You don't think, I mean, Scott, you don't think we're gonna have that issue come up again, do you?
So
I mean, I know that was a mistake, but you don't anticipate that happening again, do you? Because I know that's a big pain for us, for y'all, for everybody, right?
yeah, I'll tell you from the city's perspective, the challenge we face is that when you're dealing with these electrical providers, you know, they don't. The permitting process and the approval process for them is not like, you know, you would be installing a water line or sewer line. I oftentimes, at least from my seat, I don't see electrical plans come in. A lot of times.
The franchise.
Yeah.
Franchise, right?
Right. A lot of times they're installing stuff before I even know it's.
Are you saying they go rogue?
Pretty much.
Well, no, I mean, it's franchised and they just have it open, anything within the right of way. They have, yeah, they don't have to get a permit.
So I'll just tell you from the city's perspective, when it comes to reviewing plats and things of that sort, we're keeping that in mind. We're being selective on where we want utility easements and things of that sort. So we'll try to cut this off from that angle, but it you know, it's going to be a challenge.
There's a lot of stuff to come.
Understood.
Questions from Matt? Thanks for coming. Jeff.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
No problem.
Got Matt?
Yep.
I want to say thanks to Matt and Rocky for coming
Yes, thank you.
and being here for the stuff. Already. Move on to, I guess we're to the board of directors report. Here we go. Jim?
One thing I have, Robert already gave an update on Friendswood stormwater detention basin. I gave the staff and board members a copy of the City of Friendswood's inline and offline detention Blackhawk project, just primarily for education, show you what a good analysis and good project looks like. Just for your information. That's all I have.
Jim, I just want to add on this that we put in a grant application with Precinct 2 for their partnership program for 50% of the engineering design. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll find out later this month. And then Galveston County has this project identified in their bond proposition C that is coming up.
Jim, Paige, Samantha and I have spent an exorbitant amount of time on this. We think the same thing. We think this project is enormously important, and we've told you this, Robert. I know you're the only really city who understands it, but in conjunction with Whitcomb, this is one of the best projects, I've told the public this, that makes a difference on the creek, on Clear Creek. We're talking that it makes the biggest difference. So we're in complete agreement. We spent a bunch of time on this. So Samantha, I hope we can get something moving on this. This project's too good to not do conjunction with Whitcomb.
One other thing, Don Johnson earlier at the Clear Creek meeting requested that we put in a federal earmark for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and put something together and work on getting.
And did Michael Shan say that this is going to be a part of the bond?
Yeah, so I'm thinking if it gets voted on, I'm thinking that maybe if we're going to do that, because it would probably be a couple years out, we should put in for construction funding. If we do an earmark.
Anything we can do to help.
I agree, man. Yeah, and we're hitting it from every angle. That was one of the things I tried. I actually was going to go by Dawn at the GLO. I wasn't trying to ambush her, but I did send her a text the night before, and she got back to me. She was in DC. So she texted me back, which was amazing, because the last time I spent time with Don Buckingham was at the Lincoln Reagan dinner a couple of years ago, almost a year ago with me, when we sat with up there with Denise Methuselah's daughter, actually. So it's been two or 3 years ago, and Dawn actually remembered and texted me back. She was in DC. Otherwise, I think we'd had some good luck with her.
We may need to go visit.
We had great luck.
Yeah, but that'd been better. So anyway, well, thanks, Jim. That's always an important project to keep it at the forefront. I wish that was the one like Clearview that we could I do wish that was one that we could actually control, because I promise you the drainage district would already be digging that one. Because that one has been studied and shown its substantial benefit. But unfortunately, that's on the Harris County side of the creek. But it impacts us. The creek's 30 yards wide there, whatever.
I do have one other thing. I would like for us to consider going ahead with the engineering studies on Deepwood, because I think Deepwood is almost as good as this project.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. Okay.
Fair enough.
I'm like a Labrador, pet me on the head, I'm good for another 500 retreats. I really don't look for that kind of thing. We had a meeting a week or two ago with the Harris County Flood Control. And, really impressed with them. They get a lot, and I told them in the meeting, so you guys get a lot of, bad press with the Commandante and, Rodney Ellis, and but that's a real pro bunch of people, and I think their hearts are in it, and we want to partner with them again on some more projects. And I was very encouraged. The other thing is, I recently met with Sam Brody, the IDRT guy from Texas Galveston, and he really was complimentary of Paige and Samantha. So much so that he told me, you better watch out and make sure nobody poaches Samantha. And after I put my pistol back in my pocket, he calmed me out. But y'all are the tip of the spear. I told you that the other day. And the enthusiasm, unfortunately, I wasn't able to make the meeting in Austin, but the enthusiasm after y'all were done was infectious for me. And look at what we've done in less than a year. We just got here. This place looks completely different. We have a professional staff, professional office. We've had a few bumps in the road, but holy cow. We talk about all these committees doing all this stuff. You know what we're talking about doing? We're talking about sizing the pumps and designing the dike. That's what we're talking about doing. Okay. And I'm solution oriented. I know everybody else is too. I'd like to invite Robert and all the people that you have influence with in your role at the city and the committees to join us. We're trying to put together a coalition to fix this problem. And like I said, at the Harris County Flood Control, I don't care who gets the credit. I just want to fix it. So, anyway, thank y'all. Thank you. That's all I have.
I'm just amazed at what's been done this since January. I mean, we were a complete and utter mess, it seems like a year ago, and now running like a fine machine. I'm so excited about the barge being ordered and getting that going. Thank you, Paige. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Randy. Y'all are doing a great job. And Kathy, thank you. I'm a little sad today because my Cougars lost last night. So I'm a little tired today too because I just got back from San Antonio. But that's all right. We'll rebound and we'll be all right. We'll have another good basketball season next year to enjoy. So
Yeah, y'all usually do.
yeah.
Should have been the Texas Tech Red Raiders and Cougs in that.
It could have been.
Should have been. We shouldn't have lost. 17 seconds left. Up by 9.
I feel your pain.
Yeah, but I was really.
It was still an exciting run.
It was
It
a
was.
great run.
It was fun.
I'm an Aggie. Y'all have nothing on me.
Let's
go, Jake.
It was a great run. Great year.
I'll try to keep mine brief because it is personal in nature. A rough week for the family last week. We lost a grandma, Luann Dawes. She was 95 years old. And the following day, we lost my Aunt Jenny, Virginia Hughes, Jenny Jones, around here, 59. Her parting words of wisdom to each of us, she told my 13-year-old, she said, see your people. Sorry. So just, if you can't take time and you don't have time, make it. And see your people. Because I've heard that nostalgia is the thief of joy. Regret is a poison with no cure. So when someone is gone, that's forever. So just, see your people. And that's it for me. Sorry.
Sorry about that, Jason. I know it was a rough one. Last week I got choked up a little bit, but I will say, and it wasn't anything about that serious, but it was just gratitude for praise from people. And I'm very appreciative of the board. And I've said it a bunch of times, but I want to focus my attention to what I didn't get to last week was the staff. And I know we're not finished yet, but we're getting there. But I've built a couple small businesses, and the ride and building the staff and the strife is always the most fun. And the things you look back on, it's hard when you're successful. You always talk about it. It's funny in my businesses, they always talk about the times when we didn't know what was going to happen and when we were struggling and stuff. And you never talk about, well, look where we're at now. It was always, hey, remember when we did this? Remember when there was this and you were worried about this? And it's just funny. And that's what I feel like we've gone through here. We're still going through some. But, I inherited Scott, which my LaPorte Bulldog, my Sig Up brother from Lamar, not an Aggie, but he's Beaumont, good stuff. But, with Sig Up, I'm so appreciative of him. He's the best engineer in the area. I'll put him against anybody. He's level-headed. He has common sense, loves baseball. What can you not like about that? So I'm very happy. I got Samantha early on. I've seen her work, with the city core, Freezing Nichols. She's super smart. Just keeping Samantha focused with all her synapse and brainiac activities is the hardest thing because she's always thinking of 19 million things and ways to improve, and she cares, which is good. Paige has been wonderful organizing the district and getting it together, staying on point, being a good leader for Samantha in the office, and for Kathy, who I also inherited. And I'm very happy to have some history around here through Kathy. Her and Samantha were on their own for a while, but Paige has come in and really solidified the staff. And the professional staff I have has been very nice as we move to modernization of how we do things with budgeting softwares, the drones, the GPS technology going digital that Scott's implementing. It's a lot. We moved a lot. Then came Randy. And Randy comes from a longtime friend that grew up in Liverpool. I say that, but really Alvin. I say she's from Lower Liverpool. But anyway, Chrissy, I love the local flavor, and Randy gets called on so fast, and he's worked. Randy works. And he works and works and works and deals with the guys. And he has a lot of merger and actually professional experience in managing people. So I don't get to teach Randy anything. I don't get to teach many people anything, but I don't teach Randy anything. Randy's teaching us. And he's also a very good elixir for Paige around here to bounce things off of for them to kind of coalesce how they're going to run this place. It's nice. So I want to say thank you to y'all, Kathy, Randy, Samantha, Scott, and Paige, because it's nice to have such a professional staff. And don't even think we're not even close to it. We're just getting started. Okay. With that said, I do think we can do local projects, Robert, work good with the city, work good with the county, with the Corps, with Harris County Flood Control and Scott Elmer, which I was impressed with too. Scott said a couple of things in that meeting that kind of spoke the language of the district. And the things more like, we worry about flooding and drainage. And every day we don't do a drainage project is a day we're missing out. I said, oh man, that's my man. I love hearing that. That's what my wife thinks I'm crazy thinking about is flooding and drainage all the time and maps and topography and runoff. I think she thinks I'm crazy, but I kind of like that stuff. And Scott said that, and it kind of like got me going. So I was with David. I was kind of like, I like these people, and their engineers are doing water projects and stuff. And I'm like, man, I like this grid. I might move up there if it's too far on the North Loop. But Paige drives too slow, so I'm not doing that. Man, driving with Paige, you better have some time. I'm just gonna tell you right now. Yeah. She drives a Subaru, so she's out looking at the mountains and stuff. But anyway,
Is she looking at the flowers?
I just went crazy. But back on track, we like doing the local projects, and we will. And Director Gibson and I talked about it all the time. We talked to Scott about it all the time, organizing those things. But we have, there's no doubt I'm ambitious and want some regional solutions that really make a difference for the community that will not occur with local projects. Local projects at 100-year storm events, like Samantha always says, 3-day events, 40 inches of rain, they will not even come close to solving our issues in Brentwood. So we have to have partnerships with Harris County Flood Control, the county, more important, the state, and the federal government to move the ball. It's a heavy lift, a very heavy lift. But I have some ideas on some bills that we can have written by some state officials that I have the parameters set out that I want written. I have some ideas for the Texas Water Board. It's ambitious, but you know what? Nothing's been done here for 50 years. So it's not like if I fail, I just join the ash heap of history, but I don't want to. So I will fight for regional solutions until I'm out of here. With that said, thank y'all for coming. And I'll see y'all next month.
Oh, wait, we have an executive session.
Oh, we have an executive session. I'm gonna read this. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. I don't want to have one, but we're gonna have. The board of directors will now conduct a closed meeting in order to seek advice of its attorney, Debbie Page, about pending or contemplating litigation, settlement offers, or any manner in which the duty of the attorney of the district under Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the state bar of the Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meetings Act per Texas Government Code 551-071 for legal issues concerning any item listed on today's posted agenda. Texas Government Code 552.072, deliberations about purchase, exchange, and release the value of real.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
We need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor,
A
second.
motion, somebody make a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Thank y'all. 8:39. Yeah.
8:39, there we go.
You or I motioned or seconded on like 80%.
Would y'all take